Bob Marley's music means so much to so many people. And I've always wondered, as the person responsible for bringing his music to these people, what does his music mean to you? What does it do to you to walk through an airport and hear those songs?
Oh, it's incredible.
It must be just.
It's incredible. I thought you fixed it. That's the only thing. But now you didn't fix it.
No, I'm not that smart.
No, it's incredible. I mean, Bob Marley's music and Bob Marley as an image has got absolutely everywhere. The most amazing example to me was last year, I think it was, they were celebrating the 50th anniversary of the ascent of Everest. National Geographic had a big story about Nepal, and there was a picture in there of somebody playing pool in a pool hall in Nepal, and there was a huge poster of Bob Marley behind it. I thought it was unbelievable. How is it that he's relevant that far away?
Yeah. And you produced Exodus, which was, talk about relevant. That was, I believe, was Time's record of the century.
Right.
Exodus,
I should just clear, well, none of his records I produced. I mixed in the records. He produced all the music on them. There's only one track of Bob Marley I actually produced, but all the others he produced, and he would give them to me to mix, and I'd mix them and give them to him to see if he okayed it. So I didn't produce. The only one I produced is actually a great one, and that is a Redemption song. That's the only one I produced, because I'd heard his version of it, which was with a band, and I felt it would be much better just with him and guitar. So I talked him into doing it. He was a little reluctant.
And how was that working relationship? I mean, you were one of the few people that he really trusted, and I think that it's an interest. I'm sure it's an interesting kind of story, but I think it's also important for people that are either artists or people on the other side of the coin, on the label side. That trust factor. You've talked a lot about keeping your word and those types of things that are important. How did you develop that type of rapport with Marley?
Well, it started really at the beginning, and it had to start at the beginning. It was a strange circumstance. I'd worked with Jimmy Cliff for a long time, and then Jimmy had an offer to sign to another label, and they were giving him an advance. I think it was $50,000, and I said, no, don't take the $50,000. You should stay with Island Records. You'll do better with us. So I talked him out of doing the deal. It was with RCA Victor. He was going to do that. And then I got a call from a friend of mine who was making this film, The Harder They Come, and he'd seen the cover of a single that I'd put out of Jimmy. And he said, that's the character I want for the film. And I thought it would be a very good move for Jimmy to do that, good career move for him to do it. So I told Jimmy he should do that. Well, a film takes a long time, and you get very little money for a film. It takes a long time. So he didn't make any record during that period. He just was really doing the film. So the extension that he gave me was a year or 18 months or something. At the end of that year or 18 months, I indeed had not earned for him as much as he would have got if he'd gone somewhere else. And so he was sort of upset with me, felt I'd let him down, and signed to somebody else. And I was devastated, because I sort of knew exactly what to do. The Harder They Come, in a way, set up reggae music. It set it up as a kind of character. It gave the context from which that music emerged. And so he left. I was really upset. Then literally within a week, somebody rang me and said, Bob Marley and the Wailers are in town. And this was London. Would you like to see them? So I said, yeah, sure. So the other people I'd released some of their records before, but I never met them. I released Bob's first record, in fact. In fact, I printed his name wrong on the label because I misread it, and it was issued One Cup of Coffee by Robert Morley. Oh. I remember it because Robert Morley was a very fey English actor. Couldn't have been sounded so weird. Anyhow, so I hadn't met him, but there was a word, I don't know who of you have seen The Harder They Come, but it was the Jamaican music business. Somebody was paid like 10 shillings or £1 to do a song, and that was it. It could sell thousands and thousands. They'd never see anything more. And Bob and Peter Tosh and Bunny Wailer, the three of them, nobody would touch them. They wouldn't deal with them. They wouldn't deal with it. It was very bad, very negative, you know. So when people even heard they were coming in, they said, you shouldn't meet with these guys. They're really, really bad news, etc. Well, anyhow, they walked in the office, and, you know, there was like the real thing. There was, the harder they come, there they were, the three of them. And so I chatted with them for a bit, and I asked them how much they thought it would cost them to make a record, that I was interested in an album, that the way I saw them would be like a black rock group. They, at the time, were more interested in trying to get an American R&B, because the only association they had with the music business was through Johnny Nash. They knew Johnny Nash. Bob had written a song for Johnny Nash, and so that was their world, where they felt that their best shot to succeed would be in the R&B charts. Island was really a rock label, and I saw them as a rock act. I didn't see them having any chance of appealing to black America. I thought they would appeal more to, you know, college kids, white college kids from wherever, in fact. So I felt that they should be sort of positioned in the same market as Ireland was strong in at the moment, because at that time we had some of the acts you just mentioned, you know. So I said to them, how much do you think it'll cost you to make a whole album? And they tell me, and I said, okay, I'll give you a check to do that. And everybody said, you're crazy. You'll never see that money again. That's gone. But I felt that the only way to work with them was to trust them. And that's really what happened. And so that's how the relationship started, and that's how it stayed all the time.
So you developed trust with them from the start, and that fortified the relationship for years to come.